And let's get another check of weather with our chief meteorologist, Dan Cianca. Dan, from that video we saw, flooding on our roadways is becoming, unfortunately, a very common sight.
Yeah, and flooding is going to be an issue tomorrow, whether it's field flooding or roadway flooding or river flooding later on in the week. Something we have to keep in mind. You don't want to drive through flooded roadways. If you can't see the road under the water, don't drive through it. You never know how deep it is if it's been undercut. It's just too dangerous, and we've had a couple water rescues already. We just don't want to see that again here in the next couple of days. I want to start with taking a look at some river levels, current and forecast. If we can pull up our weather graphics here, and this is what we're starting with. The San Lorenzo River, and this is probably a testament to what we're going to see in the Santa Cruz Mountains with tomorrow. Heavy rain coming in a short period of time will cause the San Lorenzo River, to swell fairly rapidly. It is expected to forecast anyway to peak at 21.7 feet tomorrow afternoon, and that's comparable to the 20.35 that we had at the end of last week. So something very similar, I suspect, for the Santa Cruz Mountains as far as how much water to expect in your waterways. Pacheco Creek, another one we've had ongoing flooding. I drove past the creek on Saturday, and there's still a lot of water just coming down the valley there, but the big concern obviously is the low areas north of Hollister and southeast of Gilroy that have a lot of water in them still. There are levees that are just really not up to snuff to handle the water that's coming down this creek, and they're likely to see more water. Even though this creek is not expected to be as high as it was late last week, I do expect flooding in that area once again. The Pajaro River right now still breached, still flowing into the fields east of Pajaro, east of Watsonville there on the south side of the river anyway. It is still going down, but it's expected to go up. This will peak at 27.9 feet late Wednesday. So this is going to be on Wednesday. Again, there's a little slower response with the Pajaro River. It's a bigger watershed. It takes time for that water to come downstream. So, we just read a press release about work that they're doing all night long to try and rebuild, or at least put a block in that levee. If they'll get it done on time, it's hard to say. I know they're putting a lot of work into it. If they don't, more water is going to come in. And even if they do, some water still may come in and continue to flood areas south of Watsonville in that Pajaro area. So again, we'll be watching that for you. As we take a look at the Carmel River, expected to get pretty close to where it did last week. So if you were around last week, the water level should be pretty similar. Big Sur River, I'm a little concerned about. There's going to be a lot of rain in a short period of time in the Santa Lucias tomorrow, and the forecast does reflect that. I don't make this forecast. This comes from one of the NOAA's river forecasting centers, but it is expected to get to 11.1 feet, which is in that moderate flood stage. So there will be danger along the Andrew Malera area and any low-lying businesses and homes along the river in the Big Sur Village area. Just a couple other spots. The Salinas River up in Bradley, so down in Bradley, the upstream portion, expected to peak at 17.4 feet. I would not be surprised if it went higher than that. There's going to be a lot of water in San Luis Obispo County tomorrow, as well as in Monterey County. I think that number's a little bit low, and I want folks in the Salinas River to prepare for similar flooding to what we have been experiencing over the last several days. That does include the lower stretches of the Salinas River, also expected to get back over 26 feet by the end of the week. So, what's going on out there right now? A live look from Domenico's on the wharf showing that things are pretty tranquil. We are getting a little bit of wind and a little bit of rain right now, but otherwise it's just kind of a moody evening. We can feel it in the clouds this evening. The temperature's feeling very warm still, at least compared to how it's been over the last couple of weeks. We're still close to 60 in some areas in the Salinas Valley. So this warm southerly flow ahead of our atmospheric river coming in, keeping temperatures pretty mild. It is very muggy out there still. The winds slowly picking up, not too extreme at all yet, and really don't expect too much in the way of crazy winds until around 6 a.m. or so. And then I expect the winds to pick up quite a bit between maybe 6 a.m. and noon tomorrow will probably be the window of the greatest winds. That could be a little bit later than that, but that's what I'm expecting. And with that, a high wind warning in effect for the entire viewing area, which we're going to talk about in a moment. I do want to mention power outages per customer. This is the lowest number I've seen in 5 days. We were at 36,000 on Friday nights. Now we're down to 300. And I believe there's only a couple spots on the peninsula right around Pebble Beach and up in the upper Aguajito area that still have some power outages. Even the Carmel area, which has been out of power for seems like days, finally got that power restored. But unfortunately, the wind is going to blow again tomorrow, and in the same areas that saw problems with similar force. So that means there's a high risk of power outages once again tomorrow with these winds coming through. Trees down, blocked roadways, power outages. The hot spots are going to be the peninsula down to around Point Sur, western Santa Cruz County, and maybe a little bit more into the city of Santa Cruz this time. We really didn't see much wind with that last system. It was pretty calm. Models are showing it a little bit stronger along the Santa Cruz coast back toward Capitola, especially in the latter portion of the event tomorrow, so around noon or so. Do expect some gusty winds in Santa Cruz, which could mean some additional power outages. As for cities inland, we will have the winds funneling in the valleys. I do expect 40 miles per hour to 50 in places like Salinas and Hollister once again, which may mean a few trees come down as well. Scattered power outages. It's just best to be prepared. Make sure your devices are charged tonight. One idea to do. And hopefully you took advantage of the nicer weather today to stock up on any supplies you might need for a couple days if your power does go out. So Futurecast is going to show the rain thickening up overnight. It should become moderate after midnight tonight and then become heavy as we approach dawn, especially with this frontal system coming through. Now, this particular model run has a pretty distinct frontal system and then kind of a break after that. I'm not sure that I buy that. I do think between around 6 and 9 a.m. we will see our heaviest rain across the Monterey Bay area, though. So we're already really limited on roads tomorrow morning. I know a lot of you have your schools canceled and maybe want to skip. Maybe if you can work from home tomorrow, that'd be ideal. It's going to be hard to be on the roads tomorrow. There's so many closures already. There is going to be a ton of rain tomorrow. It's going to be a mess driving between the wind and any nuisance flooding that's occurring just because of the heavy rain falling at that moment. It's just not a good day to be traveling around tomorrow. So hopefully maybe you can work from home tomorrow is my suggestion if you can. Now, as we head into the late morning hours, I think we'll see the rain a little bit more focused in the coastal mountains and maybe not so much in the valleys. But notice as we head into the afternoon, it's still raining in our coastal mountains because that atmospheric river is still pointed at us. And that's why I think the Big Sur River in particular has the highest danger of seeing more flooding than we saw with this last round. Santa Cruz Mountains, pretty similar stuff, I think, but I think down south we'll have some of the bigger issues. Winds will die down in the afternoon. Rain will slowly taper off as well. Again, that heaviest rain between around 6 a.m. and noon, strongest winds between around 6 a.m. and noon, maybe a little bit after that as well. But that is what we're looking at as far as our window tomorrow, a little bit longer in those coastal mountains. My forecast rain looking like this, 4 to 10 inches in the Santa Lucias, on the lower side down on the coast and in the valleys, but up to 10 inches on the peaks, 3 to 7 inches Santa Cruz Mountains, 1.5 to 3 inches Santa Cruz to Watsonville, Monterey to Salinas, 3/4 of an inch to 2 inch, and our inland valleys roughly 1 inch to 2.5 inches for most locations. Looking at that forecast, I'm going to quickly go through your temperatures. Tomorrow, it'll be somewhat cool still in Santa Cruz County with winds out of the south. You'll be in the 50s, but the south and east you go, we'll see 60s. It's going to be warm while it's raining tomorrow. 65 in Salinas, 64 in Hollister, even Watsonville in the 60s tomorrow. Monterey, 64 degrees, I should say. And in the south, plenty of 60s as well. So this is a very warm system. It's got a lot of tropical moisture with it in it. It may feel somewhat tropical to you tomorrow. How about beyond tomorrow? So what to expect? A few showers linger on Thursday. It's not going to be a big deal, but we'll be watching the Pajaro River Wednesday into Thursday. I should say showers lingering Wednesday, not Thursday. Thursday will be dry, but we'll be watching the Pajaro River Wednesday to Thursday, the upper Salinas River as well, and then the lower Salinas River, I mean the lower is on the north side, so towards Salinas on Friday on St. Patrick's Day. Beyond that, we do have some more rain coming this weekend. Right now, it doesn't look like a big deal. A couple of weak systems sliding through. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Inland areas, similar story here. We'll be watching the river levels. Tomorrow's going to be the action day as far as the heaviest weather, Anna.
All right, thanks so much for that, Dan.